let's get this party started. Meow. I think I'm going to start calling these Chronicles of a Competitive Golfer, or maybe Kennie Kat Corner. I think that'd be a great idea for this video. Oh, you got to go to the bathroom. All right, let's go. All right, as many of you know, I have been talking about getting custom fit for the last 3 months, and I finally decided to go into a fitter. So of course, I go to my coach because I trust Kurt, and I always want to get an inside industry recommendation to see where to go. Let me actually pause here for a second. This is not a knock on Kurt in any way, shape, or form. Kurt is the absolute best coach that I could have asked for. And I've already talked to Kurt about this particular issue, and I know that he would not have recommended me to somebody that had some issues with professionalism. And from our discussion, this is the first he's ever heard of it. But because I got to keep it 100 and be honest about my experiences and why it's taken so darn long to get this video out about the fitting.
God, come on. What's taking so long?
So I called this fitter, who I won't name because the goal of this story is not to throw shame on that person, but rather help you understand from my experience so that you can learn from a lesson that I happen to learn myself. Let's do it right now. Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenny. Some of you may know me as Kennie Kat. I am a competitive golfer, and my goal is to help you improve your golf faster by learning from some of my successes. And today, you're gonna be learning about one of my failures. If you wanna know what training aids, what practice guides, and what things I'm working on with my coach that could possibly help you improve your game faster, hit that subscribe button below. I release free content every single week. So a few months back, I called this fitter. Actually, I sent him a text message first. I didn't call him. He called me back, and I assume, he was busy grinding clubs and wedges and doing stuff that custom club fitters do, like, man's busy, he's making clubs. And I basically just explained that I'm looking to decrease my dispersion throughout the entire bag, and I am open to replacing the entire bag if we find tools that are going to help me achieve those goals. And this person, who we'll call the fitter, said to me, like, hey, I totally appreciate your honesty. More likely than not, we probably don't need to change most of what's in your bag if you have clubs within the last couple of years. And he seemed pretty willing to work with what I had as opposed to just trying to sell me an entire new set of clubs. All the things you want to hear. He also explained that he was booked solid for the next 2 weeks, but that he could fit me in on a Wednesday that I think was 2 weeks out. So I was like, cool, that works. I can, take some PTO off and make a full day out of it. Obviously, I got to film and edit. That works perfect for my schedule. I get it. It's prime golfing season in Arizona. I'm not the only dude with a few $1,000s to spend. There are a lot of wealthy individuals in Arizona that got money and they want to buy some clubs. Totally understand. I can wait 2 weeks for a proper fit. So weeks go by. I'm literally making videos about this. I'm as happy as a pig in poop, as some might say. I don't actually know if pigs are happy in poop, but that's an expression that I've heard, so I'm going to stick with it. So I text the fitter the day before our scheduled fitting to let him know, hey, I'm going to be doing some filming. And would you be okay with that? Because I never like to show up to somebody's, job or their business with a BBC News crew. People can get a little, intimidated or a little upset when you show up and start putting all these cameras in their face.
I am Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators.
Oh, no. Come on, guy.
He responds back, did I have you down for Wednesday at 11? Obviously, I didn't tell him the time, so I'm assuming he had this written somewhere. If so, he's sorry because he's been brought in to, get this, do fittings at another prominent country club in Arizona. Oh, I forgot to mention, this guy is not a club fitter that's like on the side of the road at some municipal course. He is a club fitter at, let's just call it one of the premier upscale hotels in Arizona. I'm talking about the kind of place that you gotta pay just to get into the lobby. Normally, in case y'all don't know me, I'm a very business-minded individual. That should have been my first instinct to call it quits right there because I don't like people messing around with my time. Time is the only asset that I have on this earth. And I should have been like, you know what? It's just probably not going to work. If you don't have the time to properly schedule an appointment, then you probably don't have the time to be taking thousands of dollars from me. But he expressed how sorry he was, and he was vehement about, hey man, my schedule got a little mixed up and I'm really apologetic. And I can understand. So we decided on Friday at roughly the same time. He texts me the next morning, which is Thursday, and says that he forgot that Friday was his son's birthday. And within the next 30 seconds before I could even respond to the text message, he says that, no, never mind. He's going to be with his mom, so we can still have the fitting. I don't know if I'm going to actually put this text in the screen or like the screenshot of the text message, but it's just like, we're going to do what we do, Kenny. We're going to do what we do. And I guess I'm embarrassed because that should have been the final straw. Like, we're not even going to unwrap the whole point of, like, forgetting your child's birth. Like, we're not even going to get into that. But it's just like, clearly this is an individual that has a lot of his ducks just sauntering about and just meandering because they are clearly not in a row. At this point, after breaking the story down, I take full responsibility for my complicit behavior in what is about to be the show that's going to continue. So let's just keep this train moving. Being the thirsty, desperate golfer that I am and wanting to get new clubs and get fitted, I just completely moved past what should have been an indication to stop this process and decided to go ahead and meet up with him on Friday for a club fitting. So I show up to this absolute gorgeous course, like resort at this like very high-end hotel in Scottsdale area, and you know, the type that has premium balls already in the ding caddies of the range. And I'm not talking about like those beat up pinnacles. I'm talking about like Pro V1 practice balls in the buckets.
Wow, look at the size of this place.
And I'm like, okay, yo, this is a genuine place. Like, I'm feeling reassured because it's like, there's no way I'm going to get with a person that works at a facility like this and not get a good result. I check in with the front desk and let them know that I'm here for a fitting, and they just let me know, oh, not a problem. I haven't seen him all day, but he normally sets up on the far right end of the range. Let me give him a ring and call him up and let him know that you're here. And at this point, I am fully setting up the expectation that this dude is not here. Like, I've showed up, he's rescheduled on me, dude's just MIA. He is not gonna be here. And I look over to the far right end of the range, and of course, what do I see? A tent that looks like somebody should be there with fitting equipment and just 2 empty chairs. So I'm just like, all right, I've driven all the way up here. I've paid to simply walk into the lobby of this resort / hotel / private country club, and I am just not gonna get anything done. So it's like, hey man, worst case scenario, I'm going over here and hitting some of these practice Pro V1 balls and working out some short game. Like, I didn't drive out here and pay $15 just to walk on the course and not get anything out of this. So I'm just like, hey man, I'm gonna make it a day. Like, I might even actually go out and play a couple holes if I'm here already. I was supposed to have a fitting and the guy's not here, so why don't y'all just give me a golf cart and let me play some holes, we call it even.
Does that sound like something you want?
Yes.
Well, let me tell you, you'll never get it.
So I get my camera equipment set up in my bag at the far right end of the range, and I'm just kind of, you know, fidgeting with my camera, checking the audio, the light levels, all the simple things that I do. And there's a lesson going on in the bay to the left of us, right? It's like roped off that like the, you know, the PGA head pro there does teaching. And he turns to me and he says, hey, are you here for the fitter? I haven't seen him all day. I kid you not. This is the second person in 10 minutes that has proactively gone out of their way to tell me that this guy may not be here. If you ever show up to a job looking for somebody or meeting, and 2 people that work there that are actively doing their job take it out of their way to say, hey man, this guy Joe, I haven't seen him all day. Just want to let you know, haven't seen him all day. Don't know where he's at. They're probably trying to tell you something. So finally, after a few minutes of me hitting balls and warming out, the magical, mystical fitter appears and starts getting into some general questions of, hey, what do you have in your bag? What kind of misses do you have? You know, standard club fitting stuff, you know? These are the questions that a club fitter would ask. I hit a couple of shots with, I think, a 7-iron or whatever the case may be, and I give them a couple of my favorite clubs. That's the one that fitters always ask, what's your favorite club? Because they want to know what's going on with that club and why you like it so much. So we get down into his workshop, and, you know, he measures them for swing weight and the lofts and the lies, and, you know, just normal standard fitting stuff that you would expect to see a fitter do. And, you know, the workshop is pretty messy, but this isn't the first time I've seen a messy workshop before. There's clubs, there's stuff laying all over the place. Like, maybe he's just organized chaos. And despite his abhorrent understanding of how to be a timely professional, the guy knew his stuff about clubs. Like, it was clear he was extremely knowledgeable about how to fit a player for a set of clubs that's going to help them achieve their objective. And it was at that moment that it hit me. There are only two types of people in this world that can get away with being that unprofessional at their job. The first is extremely talented individuals. I'm talking about House MD levels of talent. And the second type of person is the boss's son or daughter. And he clearly wasn't the heir to a hotel dynasty, so at that moment, I knew exactly what I was getting myself into. And it was exactly what I expected. I hit 4 shots with a pitching wedge, and then I hit a couple shots with a 7-iron, and I fatted like I think 2 out of the 3 of them. And then he was like, hey, why don't you grip down about an inch on that 7-iron? And then I gripped down about an inch, and I hit an instantly better shot. So then he took that 7-iron, we went back down to his workshop, he made some tweaks, and then he came and brought out his like fitting bag with all the clubs and all the shafts and everything in it, right? He gave me this demo 7-iron to swing. He's like, here, hit a couple shots and we're aiming at this flag that's like 170 some odd yards out. And I'm talking about, he gives me this demo 7-iron, and the first 4 swings that I get out of this club, I'm throwing straight darts. This is literally making me feel like I could join the PGA Tour tomorrow and take Dustin head on at the Masters. Like, that's how good I was hitting these 7-iron shots. Crisp, flush, and they were just finding target. And while I was doing all of this, he was putting like some lead tape on my 7-iron and making some adjustments to it, and he gives it back to me and he says, here, hit your 7-iron and grip down about an inch on the club. I'm talking about, I hit this 7-iron so pure, virgins would get jealous. Like, the skies parted, champagne poured from the heavens, and this thing literally almost hit the flag at 170 plus yards. Like, that is not a joke. It genuinely almost hit the flag. I'm gonna find the clip and I will throw it in here to prove it, and I will shot trace that bad boy. Like, it was just money.
Back home. That was sweet. I think you might have hit the pin on that one.
That was close enough.
That was pretty good.
Let's just say dude knew his stuff, because we were 4 or 5 balls into hitting and I was already hitting shots that I knew I could take to the course. He gives me this Sim 2 driver, I don't know which type it is, with some lead tape on it, and I'm talking about, I instantly start ripping this thing about 260, 265 dead straight left over the back of the range. Like, every shot that's coming out of the back of this thing is just like, I know exactly where it's going, I can feel the face, and it's just flying dead straight. I don't know what's in these clubs, whether it's the magical dust. Like, did you put the Elder Wand in these shafts? Like, am I just Harry Potter over here, magically just hitting shots at 10 feet? I don't even need to see anything else in the bag. Like, make all my clubs like this 7-iron. Like, can you even do this to all my clubs? Is this even USGA legal? I don't even care if it's not USGA legal. I'm willing to cheat if clubs work this damn good. I'm trying to be honest with y'all about where my mind was at, so the rest of this story makes sense. And of course, when I was ready to rock and roll, I should have known better, because I'm ready to go out and win another tournament, get another one of these trophies over here, and just like whoop down on some competition. Like, let's get this going. Here's my bag, here's my credit card. I don't care what the number is, like, let's set it up. And of course, this individual, the fitter, turns to me and says, you should come back and then I'll build you a demo club. I'm like, a demo club? What? And this is where my like aggressive sales mind starts chiming in. What needs to happen in order for you to get those clubs, put that magical Elder Wand in them shafts, so I can start hitting these Harry Potter 10-foot 7-iron shots? Datius Pennius! Expelliarmus! Jim Nance has been like, man, this Kenny guy has a very unorthodox swing. He seems to be chanting spells when he's hitting all of his iron shots, but man, they are close. I've seen all I need to see, I'm convinced.
Shut up and take my money.
But all he would commit to, and like begrudgingly commit to, was make this demo 7-iron. And you know what? In hindsight, I'm actually very glad that he did not take my clubs and he did not take my money. Because I am not the type of customer that an unorganized, unprofessional business owner should ever work with. Because I will be a living nightmare for the rest of your life until I get exactly what I want. Facts, not lying. Point is, you don't want me to be the customer end of a transaction if you're not willing to uphold your end of the deal. I'll just leave it at that. So he told me to go out, play with this 7-iron, let me know about any things that he finds that are inconsistent, misses, yada, 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 and just want to make sure that you're comfortable with this before we do this to all the clubs in the bag, because can't go back. Like, okay, that kind of makes sense, right? Like, these are the only sets you have. It's not like we're ordering a new set. If I chop these bad boys up and it turns out this is just, you know, a day you're hitting it very well and like this is all fantasy, you're gonna be very upset. That kind of makes sense in my mind, but I'm just like, nah, man, I want that magic juice. Give me them clubs.
I'm gonna tell you something about me, Joe Rogan, that you might not know. I smoke rocks.
Y'all got any more of them KBS tour shafts? I need them shafts. And I did exactly that. I went over to Raven and I shot the easiest 41 on a back 9 that I've ever shot from 6,600 yards with a 7-iron and a putter. I might have used a wedge or two in there, but mostly a 7-iron and a putter. I called him and texted him immediately after on that Sunday. No response. I texted him later that day. He responds, hey, I'm real busy. I'll follow up on Monday. So I called him Monday evening. No response. I called him Tuesday morning. No response. So I finally sent him a text message asking if he had any intention of taking my business and getting this process started. Thankfully, he said he couldn't answer that question and finally said no. Seriously, I am not making this up. Like, I'm gonna screenshot it and throw it somewhere up here in one of these corners. Like, this is genuinely what happened. And I thanked him for his honesty and all his help because genuinely I was thankful. Like, in the moment, I was very upset and heated about it. But in all honesty, he wasn't the right person to work with me. Like, if you're not gonna be a professional that upholds time and understands how to handle customers, you're not the person that I should be working with, regardless of how good you are. And I got some good knowledge from the guy because he did know what the heck he was talking about. Like, I got a valuable understanding of swing weights and how that makes me feel better with the club and how I like a heavier club because it helps me feel the face, and a lot of other things that I will go into in another video. So I reached out to other people in my network and I was able to get in for a fitting at True Spec, which at the time of recording of this video, I've already had. And fortunately, and the silver lining of this experience is that one of the worst club fittings actually helped drive me to one of the best end results that I could have probably asked for. And I'm so excited to share that video with you, but we gotta wait till the clubs get shipped, and with all these COVID delays, I basically don't have clubs for the next 4 weeks, so I'm sharing this experience because sometimes, like, the adage of price is what you pay for, value is what you get is so true. Hey man, sometimes if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And if that duck is not lined up in a row, you gotta keep it moving. That's all I got for my Chronicles of a Competitive Golfer. Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.